Hi, everyone. Sarah Barker, founder of Connect Our Elders. I have Tina Buchanan, the founder and CEO of Visionary Care Consultants, an independent care management firm. Today, she's going to share about their very unique and effective program called the Thoughtful Engagement Program.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm super excited to talk about the Thoughtful Engagement Program. This program really came about during the pandemic last year in 2020. And the creator, Crystal Littlejohn out of Arizona, she designed this program, and Visionary Care is now offering this to our clients. So I'm super excited because it speaks to what our elders and a lot of the world has been experiencing for the past year and a half now with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So this program is designed for adults of any age. They could be 30 up to 110 if they're so lucky to live that long. And this program is really designed for clients who are isolated. They are maybe having some depression because they are losing the inability to care for themselves and have lost some independence, or maybe they've lost a loved one. Or maybe they're just having a really hard time with the fact that the world has been so challenging for the last year and a half. So I think we can all identify with that coming out of the year 2020 and looking forward. And so this program is really designed for anybody who's navigating those feelings of isolation and depression and need to find their joy again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, for people listening right now, whether they are an advisor, right, that has elderly clients, not even elderly, right? So you said age, 30 or so up to 110, or maybe it's an adult child listening right now. So what should they look for in their client or their loved one? Feelings of isolation, loneliness. They notice that their loved one or client is just feeling more down lately. Are those all areas that they should recognize that perhaps thoughtful engagement could be a solution?
Definitely. Furthermore, I will say that clients and our loved ones aren't usually able to identify that. And so really having someone identify that for you is really the key. But I can tell you some behaviors, right? If they're not verbalizing how they're feeling, it's hard to guess, right? But some behaviors that could be happening are they are not eating as much as they used to. They are not engaging with family or loved ones. On the flip side, maybe they are calling every single day. They're calling you as the daughter, like multiple times a day. Hi, what are you doing? Oh, just checking in, right? And they are longing to speak to someone. So it could look two different ways based on the situation. So not eating, trouble sleeping, right?
What about sleeping more?
Or sleeping more. That's a great one because they have no routine anymore. Maybe we're talking about someone who's sitting at home all day watching TV and they're just, taking multiple naps. So then they are not sleeping at night because they're up all day and they need routine. So that's another one. Someone that's starting to maybe have some behaviors, exhibiting some anxiety where they're presenting as panicky, or they're even making statements of, I don't know what to do, what's happening to me. Life is so challenging right now. I think a lot of people they are exhibiting anxiety and they can't necessarily verbalize it so much. And so they're asking the question, like, what is happening to me? Right.
Right.
So I think those are some key areas to look for when deciding if this program is really best suited for your loved one.
Definitely. And I think that I feel confident in saying this because I saw it quite often throughout 2020 and even now the first half of 2021 is that without stimulation, somebody that was used to stimulation or had activity and engagement with other people, and then when they went to being more isolated, right?
Mhm.
It had an impact on their cognition, their cognitive abilities, and we saw a decline. So, I mean, what do you have to share with whoever may be listening to this as far as the importance of having some sort of engagement plan?
This is so important. I'm going to tell you a story about a gentleman that we have who is diagnosed with dementia, but very, very mild form of dementia. He couldn't remember a lot of things, but he could remember recent events, right? That's what people remember, is recent events that were very tragic, or events from when they were 20 or 30 or in their prime, right? That's what people usually remember, but they can't remember details of, what doctor they saw and when. So we had this gentleman who was exhibiting this confusion surrounding what was going on. But he also was experiencing extreme trauma. His wife had just died 6 months prior, and he had lost his home, and he had moved to a memory care. And so you can imagine all of those things at once piling up on you. And then he was in lockdown. The pandemic hit, and he was in lockdown in his room. And his family didn't live local. His fiduciary wasn't able to get into the building because of COVID. And we were able to come in as care managers and identify that thoughtful engagement was something that he really needed, that he could benefit from. And so let me tell you a story about how little this can be. So one day, the thoughtful engagement specialist takes him shopping. That's all he wants to do, is leave and go shopping and identify maybe some hygiene products or whatever he wanted to buy, right? And you may think that is not thoughtful and engaging, but let me tell you the direction that it went. As they were leaving the store, and I love telling this story, as they were leaving the store, they walked past, they were going to the parking lot, and they walked past a restaurant, and he stopped and he said, "Oh my goodness, that's where my wife and I used to go to eat all the time. That was our favorite memory and favorite place to go." And so the thoughtful engagement specialist stopped. Obviously, she was like, bing, 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 and said, "Hey, why don't we go in there and have lunch and celebrate your wife?" So see how an outing, just shopping, right, turned into something else, because the thoughtful engagement specialist was paying attention to what the client said. The client drove what happened next, but the thoughtful engagement specialist just picked up on it, and then they recreated a memory of the wife and celebrated her. And so that's the kind of thing that happens in this thoughtful engagement program. It is deep, it is thoughtful, it is designed to trigger memories for those that are cognitively impaired and create joy again for people who have lost it.
Could you, so what I want for people to understand is that this is not a cookie cutter activities calendar sort of program. So could you speak to the fact that it's not like that?
So it's not an activities program. I'm going to tell you two things. It's not an activities program, and it's not a very expensive caregiver. Okay. So we are not activities assistants. We are not caregivers. These are trained thoughtful engagement specialists that are looking deeper into the soul of who these people are. So upon assessment, we ask them a series of questions about what their likes are, what are their dislikes, what are their favorite holidays, where did they travel. So we go really, really deep with them. And I think the beauty about this program is, just like on the example that I shared, is that even though we have that assessment that gives us a roadmap, we're looking for reasons and little clues while we're out with them or in the facility with them or the community, wherever they're living. And we're able to identify and go, there's something there. So we have so many stories where an outing, shopping, just like the gentleman I told you about, turned into something else, turned into finding the guy's high school and taking a trip there for the day and taking pictures on his old school campus that he used to go to school. That is true engagement. That is not activity programming.
Right. And I think that it's so important because it's happening organically, right? Like there is the introduction of the thoughtful engagement specialist and you're starting with something, right? The outing, but it's growing organically. So it's the person is present for it. It's not as if somebody is there to care for them. That's an important element of the care plan. But this program is so much more different than a caregiving service. So we will do another video where we go a little bit deeper into that and really specify how exactly it is different, and how the two can work together as well, caregiving service and thoughtful engagement. Tina, thank you for sharing about the thoughtful engagement program.
Thank you.